There is something remarkable about listening to the narrative of Scripture, read with expression and power. But I am St. Paul. Of course, I wasn't born with the saint in front of my name. That came a little later. And I was blessed to be around when we discovered papyrus. This isn't papyrus. And a quill. And the extraordinary achievement of writing. In fact, I'm best known as a writer of letters. So I'm living at a time when Cicero, the generation before me, Seneca, my contemporary, they were already starting to put their philosophical thoughts into letters. I write in Greek, as you would expect. That is, after all, the language of commerce and trade for the part of the world I'm in. And on the whole, I follow Greco-Roman conventions. So I always open my letters with the sender, the recipient, and some sort of greeting. And then in the body of my letter, I describe, I use a rejoice formula. I share information. There's often an admonition or two. Some recommendations. And then finally, the closing, again, will be fairly traditional. It will include reflections and often a desire to come and visit. And I'm good. I'm not great at rhetoric. I probably wasn't trained as such, but I'm pretty good. I know how important it is to use the imaginary interlocutor who suddenly poses that question in the middle of a text, which enables me to develop my response. Now, you need to know, writing is hard work. It's a team game. Normally what I do is I hire a secretary from the marketplace, someone skilled in writing. Now, secretaries are expensive. They're paid by the line. What we tend to do is we start working on a rough draft, reproduced on a wax tablet. And then we'll reproduce it on a rough fibrous paper, the papyrus. Secretaries are expected to produce their own ink and cut their own reed pens. But you'll be pleased to hear, unlike many people who wrote letters, I am able to read and I do check what is written. Actually, this stuff's expensive. We did a little estimate of exactly how much it would cost in today's rates for me to write 1 Corinthians, for example, which is not a short letter. That was about, in today's rates, $2,100 I had to spend. Galatians, $700. 1 Thessalonians, $500. Even Philemon, just a couple of pages, is $100. So this is where I depart from Greco-Roman conventions. My letters are too large to seal and deliver in the traditional way, so they're mainly rolled up and tied. And do you know, it's an enormous challenge to find a carrier, somebody who can deliver your letter. My preferred route is a private carrier, somebody I know who's making the journey to the city, who can take the letter with them. The advantage of that, of course, is they'll then read it out and with luck get something of my intonation and expression that's conveyed in the letter. But the result of all this is that my writing has had a huge impact. My writing is a gift to the future. They take a lot of effort. There are not many texts. I had many more thoughts that I wasn't able to put down in a text. But I do think it's true that because of the gift of writing, the 21st century knows about the Jesus story. I'm afraid I've left you with many puzzles. You've no idea what I meant by the thorn in my flesh. Big relief. You're not sure whether I actually wrote Timothy. So you're not entirely sure where I stand on women leading congregations. And of course, the other odd thing is you're only listening to one side of the conversation, because the whole epistle to the church in Corinth was actually provoked by questions they were asking me, and you've no idea what those questions were. And of course, the other problem you have is a text does not bring any visual clues or any hints from my body language or tone of voice, unlike the oral phase where you had that delicious sense of meaning conveyed by expression and animation. All you have are my words. But at least you have my words. And the first century speaks to the 21st.